Well, good morning and welcome to the 2010 The Lighting Systems webinar series designed to keep you up to date with the latest advancements and trends in the lighting industry. My name is Ron France and I am the Controls Manager for Lighting Systems. We are so excited to be kicking off our fourth season of 2010 with BubblyNet and their extraordinary solutions to human-centric lighting control, utilizing Bluetooth, mesh network, wireless controls. Joining us this morning is BubblyNet's Chief Vision Officer, Fabio Zaniboni, discussing wireless connectivity with no more control cabinets, no more hubs, and a wide range of integration tools. Please enter any questions you may have in the chat, and we will address them at the end of the presentation. If you would like to schedule a follow-up with Fabio, please reach out to your lighting system sales representative or click on the link on our 2010 page on our website. Good morning, Fabio.
Thank you, Ron. Good morning, everybody. And yes, today we're going to talk about BubblyNet, a solution for your buildings. It's lighting controls, but is as well shade controls, air quality, sound masking, pretty much anything that can happen within your building envelope that has to do with well-being and sustainability. What we do that is different, as Ron was mentioning, we are removing all the cabinets from your bill of material. So no more cabinets, no hardware, no locations, no floor plans reviews in order to accommodate all that material. The other thing that we do is we remove all the hubs needed for your wireless system. The other thing that we did is we removed the requirement of having Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, of course, is a liability in terms of security because it's the largest channel backdoor for hacking attacks, and it's also an unreliability because when your Wi-Fi is down and you rely on Wi-Fi to have for instance, your hubs connected together, well, your system is partially or completely unoperational. The last thing, of course, that we've been doing is removing all those wiring. So no more proprietary wiring, no more PoE, no more Cat5, Cat6. All those wires are totally gone. So how we do that? The way to do it is we are into the next generation of controls. It's called embedded systems. So we are embedding that little microchip. It's an ARM Cortex-M4, same kind of processor you have in an iPhone. We embedded that chip on every single device. What does it mean? It means that every single device, a controller, a sensor, a switch, a driver, every one of those have over 100 different functions. So your clock, your schedules, your scenes, your transitions, your power factors, and all the functions are embedded on every single device. To give you an example, let's say that you have on a traditional system a schedule that at 7 a.m. turns on the lights on the building. Well, at 7 a.m., you will have a cabinet with inside the clock that will send a message through the wiring or wirelessly to all the different devices to turn on. In this case, with embedded systems, every single device knows it's 7 o'clock and it turns on by itself. So every single device is fully autonomous, and the net result is also that your reliability is much higher because you don't need to depend upon a third device in order to have the system operating. The big advantage here is that now you can have very, very large networks without having to go through core or through the different floors and so on. This is a building that we did in MIT, for MIT University, 25 stories, and everything was wireless, everything was operational. And the big advantage is now your wireless radio, instead of being used to keep on having devices telling other devices what to do, the radio is used to rebroadcasting your messages. So you no longer need to have hubs to rebroadcast messages, bridges, and so on, because every single device can rebroadcast the message of other devices. The system is the state of the art in terms of latency. We're talking about 6 milliseconds on average of jump between one device and another. So you can do very large jobs, hundreds of thousands of square feet, without having any visible latency on your message. because we are now just using that very tiny microchip on every single device, your design becomes extraordinarily simple. There is no more rising diagrams, there is no more cables, there is no more cabinets, and so on. So the design, extraordinarily simple. The installation is as well very, very fast because you are not pulling wires, you're not installing cabinets, you don't need to connect hubs to one to another, and so on. The energy savings are extraordinary because now by having a control over every single device, you can really control the amount of, on very high granularity, you can review the amount of energy being used on the building. And also because now there is no more copper, there is no more metals, there is all those cabinets, all that hardware is gone, the sustainability is at the top. We're talking about saving up to 99.8% of the materials required for a control system are gone just because now we just need to add a very minute little device, that little microchip that weighs nothing into the different controls and switches. So how you control in this way? You can really control two ways. One way is to control at the let's say luminaire level. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And the other one is the more traditional way where one device, like for instance, this is a 010 20 amp load controller, like in this case, or in the case of like this is a wireless receptacle, you are able to control an entire zone. So you will be wiring, let's say, a multitude of 010 luminaires, and because they are on a single channel, you will just wire it to the 010 controller, and you can do the same thing with DMX. You can do the same thing with DALI. You can do the same thing with reverse phase, forward phase, RS485. So any kind of load in your building, lighting, shades, as well as contact sensors and so on, all those can be easily controlled with a controller from BubblyNet. The other way to go on a project is instead of having, let's say, a DMX driver being controlled by a DMX controller by BubblyNet, you could simply substitute your DMX driver with, for instance, a 4-channel BubblyNet driver. The advantage is that these 4 channels, they already have embedded all the functions that we were discussing earlier. So you could use that 4-channel for listening, of course, an RGB white tape for a cove lighting. You could use that 4-channel for, let's say, a direct, indirect tunable white luminaire. So you will be controlling tunable white up, tunable white down, just with one driver, as well as, you could just control 4 separate static loads on a single driver. Sensor-wise, we can sense and automate pretty much anything that happens in your building environment. So we can control, of course, daylight, and this is an example, for instance, of a battery power. You see how thin it is, and little magnet. So this is your motion sensor, battery powered. This will be a sensor that is still a motion sensor, and in this case, it's with a little mud-in flange, and this will be your wired solution. So we have for all the sensors options of battery powered or wireless, and we can control daylight, and we can go ultrasound, microwave, dual tech. We can control CO2. There is many different sensors we can control for quality and sound and so on. User interfaces. Of course, the most common is a switch. So switches, as you can see, they can be your standard size for your single gang or multi-gang junction box. They can be battery powered as well as wired. So if you already have junction boxes on your building and you just want to connect your switch to power, you can do that. And of course, with all the different options of engraving, colors, and so on. We have also options like this very small option. This is a strictly battery power switch. And as well, we have also the option of using pretty much, sorry, here you can see it on my right, you can pretty much use any kind of brand of keypad. So, your Mayak, your Basalt, any kind of brand that has those very nice finishes with the little levers and push buttons and so on, can be used. We have a little converter that converts our intelligence into the push button. That is the technology used on those switches. The other quite usual technology regarding user interfaces is the touchscreens. I would say that probably 75% of our projects include one or more touchscreens. Touchscreens are just beautiful. There is no plastic. It's all aluminum, powder coated. You can pick the color, any color. And the screen is a capacitive screen. You have the same look and feel that you have on your smartphone. And they are fully configurable. As you see here on the presentation, you can select your background, the color of your buttons. You can have screensavers, pin codes. You can drag and drop all your widgets. You can control from there your shades. You can control your HVAC. You can control the room temperature. You can control your dimming, your color wheel, and so on. The other quite useful user interface is, of course, the mobile app. The app is available for both iOS and Android. And the app can be used, the app allows to have multi-levels access. So you can have a very simple user level access for the end user and over guests. And then you can have an advanced level that will allow you to also configure your network, change your schedules, create new transitions or new scenes and so on. And then there is a pro level that is used mainly for people that went through our gold training. We have different levels of training. And when you are trying to optimize a project that are typically above 100,000 square feet. The last user interface I want to mention is cloud services. So included in the price of the devices that you are getting from BubblyNet, you have also a partition. You have some allocation in the cloud for you where you can back up your network, and you can also have remote access. And here there is a few slides where, for instance, we can have topographic interfaces that can be loaded. So any building manager can go from his desktop and flip through the different floors, locate what is the device that they want to activate or the scenes that they want to trigger, and they can do it in a very easy navigational way. On the right screenshot, you see another example where I can control the CO2 levels in any building. I can change the temperature in the room or in the different rooms of the building. And I can do that just by adding a BACnet over IP integration. So talking about integration, yes, of course, we can integrate DMX. We can also integrate HVAC. This is an example of a touchscreen for a client. You see there are different scenes. There is a few sliders to dim up and down the lights. And then in this case, this client wanted to control CO2 levels on the conference room and common areas to make sure that the maximum productivity on their spaces was reached. The system is based on Bluetooth NLC. That is an open standard. So it's fully interoperable. It's certified by a third party. So it's not just BubblyNet saying, oh, yes, I'm interoperable, but it's Bluetooth Mesh, a consortium that checks you out. There is a long suite of tests that you need to go through and get approved before you can state that you are Bluetooth NLC. And every day there is a new manufacturer that is start using this system because it's so open and so powerful, and it makes absolutely sense. To give you an example, some of the luminaires manufacturers that you see there, they use this little node. So this will be what you will have when you have luminaires that are fully controlled. And this little node not only has the schedules and the transitions and the clock and what we were mentioning, but it has also motion sensing and daylight sensing. So within an inch of space on a half an inch cutout, you have all the functions plus most of the sensing that you will be needing in any given project. The reliability, of course, is very important, particularly when we're talking about wireless. And reliability comes from some very large companies that have been contributing to the system. So security has been designed by Google as well by Intel. And then there is a full stack of stakeholders from the chip level all the way to the cloud level that have been contributing to this system. And that's why this system is not only used in lighting, but it's used in manufacturing, aerospace, mining equipment. So applications that are much more challenging than what will be your typical lighting application. Very quickly, very easy to scale. We've been doing projects of hundreds of thousands of square feet, multi-story, multi-buildings, campus connected together, very easy for us. We are also extraordinarily good in dimming levels. So when this is for lighting designers, you're trying to have that perfect dimming. We have many IES awards on how we use the static dimming, how we can have programmable curves on your tunable white, how we are able to zero the black body curve on a Planckian space of an RGB white space. There is a lot of tools that, unfortunately, in 15 minutes, I cannot really share with you. We do also very large building, a very large complex. This is an example, a resort, 7 buildings, totally. This was just to give you an idea about how we can use cloud connectivity. This project was released during COVID. Hawaii was locked down as an island, and all the programming was done from Florida. Every building had a little gateway, and we were able to dim and down, set the settings, while ownership was going through the different rooms. We were on a video call, and we were able to set and change all the settings and save all the scenes as they were intended by the owner. Talking about security, we've been doing federal buildings. A few years ago, we did the largest cybersecurity company in North America, and Ron is coming. I'm running out of space, out of time, right? Anyway, so we are FAA approved. If we're good for airports, we're good for pretty much any challenging environment. And yes, we do convention centers with DMX integration, and very quickly, deliveries, very fast, 2 to 4 weeks. We have a quick ship program for 5 business deliveries. And then warranty-wise, every single piece of software can be upgraded over the air. So you always have the latest and coolest on your job.
Very good, Fabio. Don't have any questions in the chat yet, but I do have a question about is there any limitation on lighting manufacturers using your drivers?
No, absolutely not. I would say that, yes, most of the drivers are compatible with the drivers are Class P. So most of the manufacturers already use a Class P that allows you to change and have different drivers without having to go through UL. And we've been doing, drivers and controllers on board, like small controllers, like dual channel 010. So if you already have a dual channel 010 driver that you're using for your tunable white, you just add a little device that is the size like 1 inch by half an inch by half an inch. And with that, you're able to control your tunable white, let's say pendant light.
Oh, very good. So we talked about project size, 100,000 square foot more. Is there a limitation to how many devices can be connected to your network?
Yes. So for a single network, we're talking about 10,000 devices. So technically, it's 32,000 nodes, let's say about 10,000 devices. So up to 1 million, 1.2, 1.3 million square feet, we should be fine.
We would like those jobs out of all of our specifiers, by the way. Bring that on. That would be great. And then finally, if we have a third-party manufacturer that might be a good fit to integrating with BubblyNet, is there things they have to talk to you first, or they just contact you directly?
They can contact us directly. Typically, either we're already in contact or the lighting designer would recommend them to check us out. We send a few samples, they test them, they see how they dim, they play with the app, they understand how easy it is, and they just, we deliver them the goods, and then they ship complete their luminaires with onboard our intelligence.
All right, well, I don't see any additional questions. Well, thank you, Fabio, for an incredible presentation. This is by far our most exciting controls line, and I think it can go anywhere. Thank you for attending the presentation today.